the obstacle in my life, it may not look like an obstacle in others' life, but the fact that I had to be my mom's caregiver for over 15 years. And it was an obstacle for me because I didn't want to do it because I didn't like the way my mother had treated me when I was younger. And I felt that at that moment, I just felt like that was just a big obstacle in my life. I feel like I lost over 15 years of my life. So I had to essentially, how I got over that obstacle of dealing with the tragedies, I called it back then, for taking care of my mother as a caregiver, I had to learn to forgive.
Hey everybody, I'm back with another episode of So It's Success Stories. And today I am talking to I call her my mentor friend. This is Gloria Saulsberry. I met Gloria when I became a mentor at the adolescent parenting program here in Memphis. She was a mentor there before I was, and I became a mentor there, and we ended up doing some group mentoring together. And we became really, really, really good friends. We connected on so many levels and for so many reasons, which I'm sure a lot of those will come out in this interview. But Gloria has been like a big sister to me, a mom / big sister, and role model and so much more. So I'm excited for her to share her story. Gloria is the founder of DFW Purple Gloves, which is a nonprofit organization that she started. And I'm sure she will share more about it. So Gloria, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, well, my name is Gloria, of course. I am a mom of 4 sons. I'm a grandmother of 7. I hail from Memphis, Tennessee. I'm an alumnus of Melrose High School here in Memphis. I am a retired employee from a Fortune 500 company here in Memphis. And I'm just an all-around fun person. I like to sing, I like to dance, and I love giving back.
Yes. That is who you are. You are fun and all about family and all of that. So, okay, let's get into the story because you are full of wisdom and knowledge, experience, some major experiences, and it's super, super resilient. So in this program, I have what I call the So It's Success system. It's my belief that anyone, if they can learn how to overcome obstacles, eliminate excuses, and calculate choices, they can have so what success. And that is success no matter what happens in life. And Gloria, I know some of the things that you have gone through and some of the things that you've overcome. So I know that you are so what success woman. So tell us a little bit about some of the obstacles that you've had to overcome and just how you've overcome those obstacles.
Okay, well, one obstacle that I really want to talk about overcoming is the obstacle in my life. It may not look like an obstacle in others' life, but the fact that I had to be my mom's caregiver for over 15 years. And it was an obstacle for me because I didn't want to do it because I didn't like the way my mother had treated me when I was younger. And I felt that at that moment, I just felt like that was just a big obstacle in my life. I feel like I lost over 15 years of my life. So I had to essentially, how I got over that obstacle of dealing with the tragedies, I called it back then, for taking care of my mother as a caregiver, I had to learn to forgiveness. So that's a big, turnaround for me, was the fact that I had to forgive. I had to dig deep down into the soul. And I also had to, believe it or not, Summer, I had to get a better relationship with God to get through that obstacle. So that was a big challenge for me. And I don't want to dwell on it too much because I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry. Yes, but it's just hard when you feel like someone has wronged you in your life, and then it's amazing how things turn around. Someone you feel like that should have cared for you, that didn't care for you the way you wanted to, and you have to be put the task be put on you, that you have to take care of that person. So that is an obstacle within itself. And then I want to share my obstacle in life of being a teenage mom. That's another obstacle that I had to face. I thought that I was going to be nothing, and I had to get over the obstacle. I had 4 kids out of wedlock. One of them I had as a result of date rape, and nobody knew that. And so what I did, instead of, being in a pity party, I just figured it out all for myself. I said, figured it out. In Summer, I know this is not about so what, but when I met you, my so what was, hey, I had 4 kids out of wedlock. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was living on welfare. And my so now what was, I went to school, I educated myself, I taught my children to be self-sufficient because I had all sons, and I just laid the pathway to do things. So overcoming the obstacle was just learning to turn things around and not be a what do they say? What is it called when they say I didn't want to be a statistic. I didn't want to be a victim of my environment, because they say, once you're in that environment, you can stay. So I don't believe in generational curses. That's what I'm looking for, generational curses. So I had to make sure that I was the person that did that turnaround. So I did those things.
Well, Gloria, you just said a mouthful. So, so first of all, anybody who has cared for someone, been a caregiver for any amount of time knows how hard it is. Anybody's been a caregiver on any level for any amount of time knows how hard it is. And Gloria, you had shared with me early on why you felt the way that you did with your mom. And I think a lot of people who are watching this can even relate to having hurt and even anger and unforgiveness towards a parent, even specifically a parent who didn't take care of them the way that they wanted to be taken care of. So to add that to what you had to do and the challenges of being a caregiver, I can't even imagine how difficult that was. And then you talked about being a teen parent, of course, and even how you became a teen parent initially was, of course, something that I can relate to, and the emotional challenges with that, and then all the physical challenges with that. And so, honey, that's why I was like, salute to you because you did it with four children, and again, I got to meet your mom, and you can speak to that too. Actually, this is a good time for you to speak to that too, because your mom had Alzheimer's, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
And so that's an additional challenge, right? As the caregiver. So talk about that a little bit, and then talk about DFW.
Yeah, so my mom, she transitioned in 2017 from dementia, and everybody knows that's the horrible disease where you lose your memory and you go through a lot of things. But just the challenges of not getting her, trying to figure out how to get her to eat, because it's essentially, well, a person with dementia loses everything. They loses their memory, they forget everything. They don't remember, their brain doesn't tell them how to function. So just the challenges of that, not having anybody, it was overwhelming. And I didn't realize, Summer, that I was overwhelmed and depressed. I thought I was just doing what I was supposed to do to take care of my mom. But when you see your friends and family having fun, living their lives, and when you have individuals in your family that can help you but don't help you, let me just say, I'm gonna go back to one day I was so stressed I needed to go to the gym, and I asked an individual in my family, could they watch my mother for an hour? And the answer was no, I'm not a babysitter. That right there set reality within me. I knew that I was not going to get respite. So being a caregiver with a person with Alzheimer's, my mama was a wanderer. So she had to be watched 24 hours a day. So just imagine living your life every day for over 14, 15 years, where you go to work, you take your mom to daycare, you pick her up from daycare, and all you can do is sit in the house unless somebody give you respite time. Now, don't get me wrong, my husband, my children, and I have a couple of nieces and their children that were amazing. My sister would keep them when I went out of town to travel for work, but just having that small circle of individuals really makes a difference in a person's life, Summer. And you really, really, really have to. And when my mom transitioned in 2017, I didn't know what to do with my life. So I started DLW Purple Gloves. And what DLW Purple Gloves is, we honor caregivers, people who are overwhelmed, stressed, depressed, and who have made the ultimate sacrifice to care for an incapacitated loved one. So
I think that's, oh, go ahead.
no, I was going to say, so I didn't have anything to do. I didn't know what I was going to do with myself. And so, once you are a caregiver for an individual that's incapacitated and you're sacrificing, not getting a paycheck for it, when you're sacrificing your life, their life becomes your life. So when she transitioned, I didn't know what to do with myself. So I wanted to do something for others who were in the same condition that that I'm in.
I think that's powerful, Gloria. Because again, I think people understand how overwhelming it is, but unless you are in it, you can't even imagine just how tough it is. But I think it's beautiful that you started the organization, because you did that for you and for other caregivers, right?
Right.
But you named it in honor of her. So
did.
talk to your forgiveness. So speak about that just a little bit.
Yes, so I named it DLW Purple Gloves. The DLW are the initials of my mother's. My mother's name was Dorothy L. Wilson. So I named it DLW Purple Gloves, and I named it in honor of her because I forgave her. That was my mom. I love her. I still love her, and I miss her. So I wanted to do something to honor her memory. That's why every year around her birthday, I always do the prayer breakfast, the DLW Memorial Prayer Breakfast in honor of my mom. And the gloves represents being a fighter. So it's kind of like both of us combined together. She laid the pathway for me to be the person that I am today, because essentially what people need to understand, Summer, is regardless of your mom, they impact your life one or two ways. You aspire to be the parent that they were, or you aspire not to be the parent that they are. So I wanted to make sure I carried her legacy on. I did a little research and everything. So I named the organization DLW Purple Gloves. Purple was the color for Alzheimer's. So everything behind the logo has a meaning that a lot of people really don't know. The DLW is her initials. The purple represents the Alzheimer's, dementia, and the gloves represents a fighter.
A fighter. Thank you, Gloria. She's a fighter. You're a fighter. And I love some fighting. Fighting for what you want, fighting for what you believe in. And so I love it. And I love it. And I love and respect and admire you for your strength and all that you've been through. So the next part of the success system is eliminating excuses. Talk about some excuses that you may have made throughout your life and that you knew you had to get rid of, or maybe you didn't make them. You knew you had to eliminate them so that you could get through your childhood, teen pregnancy, being a single mom, and being a caregiver, all the things that you've been through. What are some excuses that you eliminated?
So one excuse that I used to make when I was younger, a lot of people don't know that when I was born, I was almost blind. I was legally blind when I was born. So I would always shy away because I had, back then they called them Coke bottle eyeglasses. And I thought I was ugly. It was just a lot of things that happened in my youth. I thought I was ugly. So I had to eliminate, first of all, the excuse of thinking that I was ugly, because anything that God designs or creates is beauty within itself. So I had to put that aside, and I had to eliminate all negativity out of my life. From then up until now, it took me, Summer, until I got almost 50 to realize negativity was a big impact. And that was an excuse. Everything, I had excuses for everything. I can't go because I got children. I can't get this job because I don't have enough education. Well, what do? You go and get the education. You educate yourself. So I tell people all the time when I talk to young girls, I want to say this because I use the excuse that I had children as a teenager that I couldn't do anything I wanted to do in life. I had to put that aside and understand that you can do anything in life that you want to do. All you got to do is step out on faith and do it. So eliminating just all negativity, those are excuses. I had excuse after excuse. I'm too skinny. Summer, I was so skinny, I weighed 120. This big, this big. I'm too skinny. Nobody will want me. Nobody likes me because I wear thick eyeglasses. It was just excuse after excuse. I could name 100. But to make a long story short, I had to eliminate everything that I thought negative about myself to become the individual that I am today.
The individual who is powerful and confident. I love it. I love it. Now, and that's so true, Gloria. I mean, and that's true probably of most of us, right? As far as a list of excuses and all the things that we see are wrong or all the reasons why we feel like we can't. And so I like the mindset. I like the mindset that you can't do anything. You just got to figure out, step out on faith, figure out how, and figure out who you're supposed to have in your corner. So the third part of the SOA success system is calculating choices. So talk about some of the calculated choices that you've made on your journey.
So first of all, I chose to live. I chose to be happy. I chose to accept my flaws. From the time, even from when I was 8 years old, living in the projects, I only had one friend. It was only one. I felt like I only had one friend, and I thought nobody like just. I had to just the choice. Oh my God, some of the choices that I made, girl. I just chose to be happy. That's the biggest choice that I made. I chose to love me for myself and understand that life is gonna bring lemons. So I chose to take lemons. Throughout my life, I had boys. I didn't have a husband. I chose to stop saying that I couldn't get a husband. And now look at me. I've been married 26 years. Okay. There's been some challenges, but we're still here.
Right. I love it.
We're still here. I'm gonna take it all the way back when I chose to teach myself how to drive. My brother said, I'm not taking you to the mall another time. Here's the keys. I chose to step out on faith. I chose to let fear go. It's just so many things in life, Summer. Oh my God, that I chose. You have brought a lot of memories. I chose to love, and the most important thing that I could say in my choices, Summer, I chose to love me for who I am and to develop. They say I have a strong personality, but this personality was built from the ground up. I chose to let people understand that love me for who I am. If you're not in my corner, then I'm sorry.
I get it. I love it. But those are powerful choices. Choice to be happy, choice to love yourself, because those dictate all the other choices, right? Mm-hmm. All the other choices and who you allow into your life and even in your career, the path that you take. And so talk about that a little bit, your choices in your career.
So let me go back to when a lot of people don't know I graduated when I was 17. I started working in the warehouse. I worked at a place called Mr. Christmas on Kansas in South Memphis. I worked in that warehouse for almost 2 months, and I said, this is not the life that I want to live. I will not work in a warehouse. So I chose to not be a warehouse worker. I went to school. I taught myself how to type. I took a job as an admin, my career choices. So I took a job as an admin. I didn't have a degree. I decided to get my bachelor's degree working temporary at FedEx. It's crazy. Then I chose to get a master's degree in international business so that I could have the career that I want, not what they want me to have. I just talked about this. Stop discounting yourself. Then I decided to get a second master's when my mom was diagnosed with Alzheimer's so that I could learn what it takes to be a healthcare manager, because I knew that the billing and things. So I got a second master's in that. I chose to move from an admin. I was comfortable. I made the choice to move from an admin step out on faith, get a promotion at my job, which was FedEx at the time. And then Summer, I made the decision on faith, didn't know how I was gonna make it, honey, saw a little money, talked to a couple of friends, they was like, girl, take the buyout, take the buyout. I took the buyout, and then guess what happened? COVID happened.
Yep.
COVID happened, my nonprofit plummeted, but I started another business and it's successful. So it's the choices that you make and how you choose to overcome. Again, back to, I know we're not talking about obstacles, but things get in your way, the choices that you make in life. So I chose to I want to live the lifestyle. So I educated myself, empowered myself. And now I'm at a point where people want me. They're after me. They want me.
But that's how it works, Gloria. And we are talking about obstacles. This whole interview is about obstacles and getting through obstacles. And so you're right on point with everything that you said. And it's so powerful when you share your journey and all the obstacles that you've had, and you go move forward and get some more obstacles, and move forward, you get some more obstacles. But that's what life is all about, is because obstacles are going to come. It's just about learning how to overcome those obstacles.
Yes.
Learning how to deal with them. And so then you start to deal with them with a smile, right? And you learn how to it's like, okay, there will be another obstacle tomorrow. And you know that you can overcome it. And so you have proven that. So you've proven that you are, you want to say something?
I was going to say, I'm going to even take it to my hair.
Let's talk about it. Yes, that's powerful too. Let's talk.
You've seen the videos. I have alopecia. Oh my gosh, I'm so used to having thick, long, pretty hair. And when I started losing my hair, it really did something to me. I was in a dark place. Y'all didn't know, my friends, y'all didn't know I was in a dark place about my hair, but I was really, really, really in a dark place. So I shaved it all off. And I shaved off, and when I shaved it off, I said, oh my God, I'm so ugly. And people were coming at me. They were saying, oh, you got cancer, all the negative stuff, I
know as soon as I saw it, I was like, that is cute. She is so cute. I never saw anything negative, but I understand that was some of what you experienced. You also you received the positive, right? Because they listed those comments on Facebook like, you killing this.
Girl, they were like, because the thing about it, I said, I'm going to go, because I let my hair grow back out and I still don't have it in the top. And now the difference in then when I shaved my hair and when I'm going to shave it again is I love me for who I am. I look good with the bald head, and I'm going to show y'all how to rock it. So the different thing, I was in a dark place. I'm not in a dark place now. Now I accept it, and I've learned to live with it. And now I'm sharing it with other people. That's why you see the videos and things of that nature. I'm sharing it with other people. You'll be amazed at how many people have inboxed me and said how I inspired them.
I'm not amazed at all. I'm not surprised at all. Not at all. So you have definitely demonstrated you know how to overcome obstacles, eliminate excuses, and calculate choices. And you become a so with success woman. But Gloria, what is your personal definition of success?
My personal definition of success is everything, Summer, that we talked about. Setting personal goals and accomplishing those goals. When those obstacles get in your way, then you're successful if you can remove one obstacle at a time. It's not all about, people don't understand. For me, success is not being rich and having a lot of money. Success for me is being happy with your life and with who you are. And you're successful if you can make an impact in other people's life. That's my definition of success.
I love it.
That's Gloria's definition of success.
But I love it. That's what I want, Glorious. I love it. Okay, one last question for you.
Okay.
What advice would you give to someone who's watching this, who wants to be successful, however they define success, but they run into obstacles, they have challenges? What's one piece of advice you would leave?
One piece of advice I would leave for them is all obstacles come with negative. And in every negative, there is a positive. You just have to be willing to reach down inside that negative, find the positive, and turn it into your success. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Thank you, Gloria. This
You're
was good. It was powerful. I love you, lady. And
I love you more.
and we will be getting together soon. We will be getting together soon.
Yeah, we gotta talk.
Yes.
All right, well,
Thanks, Gloria.
So thank you so much for having me. I truly do appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. It was my pleasure. Thanks for sharing your story.
You're welcome.